All right, we're back. No Look Podcast. Your boy Osoy, the man, goddamn Tyler. we're fresh off the sweep. We got to get the brooms out. The Nets, as you can tell in the title, Nets are bozos, honey. What happened in this series?
Well, a lot, Austin. Celtics were the better team. I guess that's all you really can say. Scheming wise, defensively, defense wins championships, and they definitely played way better than us defensively. Out rebounded the basketball better than us. Scored a lot more points off of turnovers. Created more turnovers. Just all around out schemed us and outplayed us. Uh, all the way around. Like there's really nothing else that you can say. I mean, it wasn't just one player; it was the whole team collectively for Boston that really just took the wind out of the Nets' sails. So it was tough to watch. I mean, I'm surprised that I don't have any holes in my drywall after watching 4 games of the Nets losing back to back to back to back.
So pretty much what you're saying is the Celtics did everything better than the Nets in this series.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, they pinpointed Kevin Durant early and often, game 1 through 3. He kind of found his rhythm tonight. Game 4, I think he had like 37 or 38,
39.
39. And then Kyrie was just non-existent throughout the whole entire series. I don't think he had a game over 20 points. Maybe tonight he did, but it was just they took out our stars, and then they also out rebounded, and they created a lot more turnovers. I think we had 20 plus turnovers in the first 3 games, and you just can't win with that many turnovers. I don't care what sport you're playing. If you have that many turnovers, you're not going to win the basketball game.
Yeah, no, I mean obviously it was a little bit closer series than the final record indicated 4-0 from the Boston Celtics. Game 1 ending in a buzzer beater, which could have gone either way. Tonight they only lose by 4 points. KD really did all he could with a 39. Um, what was I going to say? There is one question that has been floating around social media, Tyler. Um, People are starting to speculate, is Jason Tatum now taking over the best scorer in the NBA from Kevin Durant?
I don't really think so. I think Jason Tatum is an elite scorer. I think as long as Kevin Durant is in the NBA, he's the best scorer. This series didn't really prove that. He was taken out of the game early and often, being double teamed, at times even triple teamed. A lot of times they got away with fouling him before he even touched the ball. So, I think that just goes to show how good of a scorer Kevin Durant is when you have to draw multiple guys. He didn't shoot well. They took him out of his rhythm, and he probably didn't have the best shooting percentage in games 1 through 3. Again, he shot really well this game in game 4. But that, to get back to your question, that's not taken away from Jason Tatum. I mean, the guy is an elite athlete. I just don't think it's apples to apples in comparison, because Boston had a completely better defensive scheme than the Nets did, and they had guys that were big body and that could actually stay in front of Kevin Durant, unlike we couldn't stay in front of Jason Tatum. So I would say he's like top 5 in the league for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think Kevin Durant has to pass the torch just yet. However, Jason Tatum, he's a bona fide star, clearly the face of that franchise. The only thing I could say, for this matchup is the Celtics, that unit has been together for a long time. Tatum, Smart, Brown, even what's his name? The white guy.
Theus.
Theus. Yeah, he's been around for a few years. So they have that cohesion. They have the chemistry. Another question for you. Obviously, there's speculations about Ben Simmons potentially playing tonight. He didn't end up going. Do you think if he does suit up, is he any kind of a difference maker?
I mean, I guess it depends on how bad that injury was, but I will say that regardless, I do think that he would have made a little bit of a difference defensively and also on the rebounding on the glass. We definitely got out rebounded, especially when we went small. When we put Kevin Durant at center, they're just a big, aggressive team. They got multiple guys that can come in and still stay pretty big with Al Horford, Theus, and Robert Williams. So it was just tough. We just got outmatched. They slowed the ball down. They played hard defense. They out rebounded, and at the end of the day, the Nets lost that series completely. Yeah, a lot of it had to do with the Celtics and how well they shot, how well they played defense. But when you're having 20 plus turnovers, you have a guy that's shooting 0 for 11 from the free throw line before he hits one. You're having, missed shots that are easy by Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, because they're out of their rhythm. Your two best scorers can't even score. You lost that game from the get. It's not even the other team. It's a whole mental aspect of the Brooklyn Nets that lost that. With that being said, though, Austin, I think that the Nets should 100% reload for next season with the same core that they had. And the reason why I say that is because, they had a lot of those guys that were injured, Kevin Durant being one. Kyrie Irving could only suit up for half the games this season. They got Ben Simmons late, Seth Curry late, Andre Drummond late. I think it's too early to just push away what they have. Start re-signing those guys that were on the team that made a difference. Blake Griffin.
So who are the core guys you're saying that you want to build around? Like KD, Kyrie,
KD, of course.
Simmons, Drummond. Like who do you want them to keep?
If I'm being honest, I'm 50-50 on Kyrie Irving. I would be happy if we re-signed him or if we dealt him away. I wouldn't be upset and I wouldn't be mad. But definitely we also didn't have Joe Harris for the whole entire year. That's a key 3-point shooter. You keep KD, you re-sign or keep Ben Simmons, see how he does. Andre Drummond, we need the size. I think Nick Claxton get in the gym, shoot some free throws. That's going to be huge, especially with the big body. We got De'Aaron Payne, who's a young rookie out of UNC. I think he could be a difference maker on rebounding. Honestly, if we can get Blake Griffin back, he's an energy booster. He has the most charges taken in the NBA, only playing 56 games this season. Obviously need Seth Curry, Joe Harris healthy. We got a good squad. It's just a lot of them were injured and a lot of them just weren't in rhythm. I love Patty Mills. Keep Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, absolute fire starter. So
seems like the only guy you're unsure about coming back is Kyrie.
I'm very unsure about Kyrie, and I love Kyrie. I think he's a elite player. I personally just don't see how he fits in with this Brooklyn Nets team. I think that they can easily take out Kyrie, insert Ben Simmons as the point guard, obviously facilitate the ball 1A to, KD, 1B to, Joe Harris, Seth Curry. You have all these options where it allows. Here's the thing, Austin.
Yes.
Every time if you watch the game in the 4 games that the Nets played, Kyrie Irving touched the ball, KD was open because they had guys collapse. KD was wide open, and what did Kyrie do? Did not pass the ball to KD. Instead, took a shot up for himself. Maybe once out of every 8 times he did that, he scored. A lot of the times when the ball went to Kyrie, it stopped. And when you're trying to facilitate the game, get the tempo moving, it killed the energy that the Nets had. And KD especially, you need KD to get his tempo early and often to become a scorer, to score those 40-point games to keep you in the series. And Kyrie just didn't do that for us. So I wouldn't be upset if we got rid of Kyrie, but we also if we keep him, we need to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much like you're saying, if you want to keep the same roster, they're going to have to figure something out because, getting swept in the opening round of the NBA playoffs is, not ideal, obviously. Talking about Blake Griffin, he did score 0 points tonight. However, he had the highest plus minus on the team, Tyler. He was plus 10 tonight. So definitely his impact, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. You can see what he did there in 18 minutes.
I think he had two charges taken too, and they were big. We needed those when he took those.
Scambo would have loved that.
I mean, it it's funny because I read a tweet that if you swapped Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin's minutes throughout this whole entire series, I could see the Nets winning one, maybe two games in those four because of how big of a fire starter he is. Now that goes into the saying. We were talking about this pre-show, Austin.
Mm.
Andre Drummond hasn't won a single playoff game without LeBron as his teammate. Are the Nets cursed with Andre Drummond on their team? He's 0
I
for 8
mean, yeah, I mean,
without LeBron.
I think Drummond's a good player. I think he plays his game well. He gets a lot of rebounds. He's a force, rim protector, but he just doesn't really fit in most schemes in today's NBA. All these centers, you got Jokic and Embiid, they can step out behind the arc, hit a three, stretch the floor. You know, he's easy to guard, and if he's not in there getting rebounds or putbacks, then yeah, it's like not really much of a point to give him a lot of minutes. As you can tell tonight, Steve Nash decided to keep him on the floor for only 4 minutes. Um, yeah, I mean, I know you're still upset about it. Like you said, we won't have to, talk about it too much, but really not much to say. It was all Celtics in this series. Nets, they're going to have to go to the drawing board in the offseason and see what they can come back with. But yeah, again, Kyrie only playing half the season, not really getting able to get a feel for the flow of the game. And obviously, you say, oh, he's a professional athlete, he's going to be in shape, but, game shape is a little bit different than just running sprints and suicides in practice. It's a lot of different cardio. So that I feel like that definitely impacted it. Um,
Also, speaking of Kyrie, I'm pretty sure his first time practicing Ramadan. So,
mm,
we had Ramadan Kyrie where he was fasting before sundown. So,
that
a lot of
definitely
the times
factors in.
I honestly think that played a huge role in his fatigue because he looked like his energy levels were very malnourished throughout the series. Like he was lackadaisical going down the court. He didn't look like he really wanted the ball. It was kind of weird. Like I feel like I wasn't watching the same Kyrie Irving that I was watching when it was the regular season. Whenever Kyrie was playing during the regular season, he was averaging about 25 to 30 points a game. And, he was really a big factor where in this series he was kind of lost. I honestly don't know if it was the same Kyrie. I don't know whether he was scared to face his old team, if fasting had a take on it or what the case was, but it just wasn't the same Kyrie that we signed to have for this specific series in general. So
Yeah. No, it's definitely tough anytime you're performing at that high of a level and you can't get the right supplements and nutrients in your body. I can, clearly see how that factors in. Um, let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's start with the games yesterday, I guess, and then we'll go into the rest of the ones that are taking place right now. Bucks manhandled the Bulls. They take a 3-1 series lead in that. Not much to say. Giannis doing his thing. Zach LaVine and
that series
DeRozan.
is over.
Yeah, they can't do enough. Obviously, they're seeing the impact that Lonzo Ball had on the team with him missing. Caruso's trying to do all he can to step up. Um,
He got
Colby.
injured last game too.
Yeah, so they're just all banged up
Took
right
a
now.
Yeah. I mean, I think if Lonzo Ball is in this series, it would be a 2-2 kind of game kind of series right now. I think it would be a one game would have been stolen by the Bulls. But you're seeing a lot of, not a lot of offense from the Bulls, but also not a lot of defense from the Bulls. They're
Hmm.
allowing a lot. The Bucks are just manhandling them, and they're proving why they're the NBA champions from last season. I mean, this team is a force to be reckoned with out of the East, and they're probably, since the Nets are out, I can say one of my clear-cut winners to win it.
You think the
East, I should say, the East.
okay? You think the Bucks are the favorite in the East right now without the Nets?
I would say they're yeah, without the Nets, I would say, and this isn't me hating on the Celtics whatsoever. I do like this Celtics team. It's just I think Giannis is just he's a freak. The
Yeah.
guy is unreal, and they have Chris Middleton, who I've been known since last year of saying was a huge reason as why they won the NBA Finals, if not more than Giannis Antetokounmpo. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, no, he played a big part, when they tried to scheme against and slow down Giannis. Well, he's got a shit grin on his face.
Well, I'm just waiting for why you would say that, Chris Middleton didn't really do as much as he did in the NBA Finals last year.
Was that one of my stances that I had?
I don't remember, but I remember I was fighting people on Instagram, on TikTok. I said that Chris Middleton was the main reason why the Bucks won the NBA Finals. Nobody wanted to hear it, but it's the
Yeah, I
truth.
mean, yes and no. I mean, obviously they tried to scheme against Giannis, put some help defense, which kind of opened the floor for him to score. But no, he had a few games. I don't know. I think he might have hit 40 in one game, a few high 30-point games. Definitely a solid team right now, and it's hard to bet against the reigning champs. They got a clear cut path to the finals. I think the Bulls are, them and the Hawks probably the weakest teams in the East, as you can tell. Okay, so Toronto, the Raptors come back and they win another one. So now Philly's up 3-2. And then obviously we got the sweep. Miami's up 3-1. Very lopsided in the East. Whereas on the other
So,
side of
question.
things, yeah,
But it's the winner of the Bucks Bulls face the winner of the Sixers Raptors, and then the Heat,
no.
the winner of the Heat. Okay, how's it go?
I mean, according to this bracket, because I don't think it's like football where it's like next highest seed versus lowest seed. I think it's just like
No, it's not.
it's a fixed bracket.
Yeah.
So, uh, Bucks would then get the Celtics, and then the winner of the other two
Oof.
series would face
Oof,
each
oof,
other.
oof,
So
oof.
it'll probably be Miami versus Philly.
Oh wow.
So I mean, I don't know,
That's
but
gonna be that's
Celtics are
gonna be
looking like a different
interesting.
kind of beast. Especially everyone. I don't know if the Nets are the Nets that everyone thought they would be, but to sweep a team with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, I mean that's no easy feat right there. So I don't know. The Bucks, should they win, and they
Oof.
probably should against the Bulls in this series, go up against the Celtics next. That's going to be tough because also Tyler, Boston is the higher seed. They got the 2 seed. Bucks are the 3 seed. So if it does come down to a game 7, Celtics are going to have home court advantage, which as you know, not only is home court advantage very important in the NBA playoffs, but I mean TD Garden's got to be one of the tougher places to play.
Yeah, I mean, that's my Eastern Conference Finals right there, in my opinion. Whoever
Hmm.
wins that series, wins the Eastern Conference. Because out of those two teams, those are my two strongest teams out of the East. I mean, Philly, if they were handling the Raptors a little bit better, I would say, oh, Philly all day long. Philly versus the Bucks or Philly versus the Celtics. But they're having a hard time with this Raptors team, who I don't think is as strong as they are on paper,
Hmm.
but they're showing that the Sixers are a very flawed team, and Embiid can only do so much. So now it's like obviously the Heat are gonna win. Heat versus Sixers. I don't know. The Sixers, will they play well if Lowry's playing? What's the statement with Lowry? I think the Heat are a little bit stronger. I don't like saying this, but the Heat are a little bit stronger in the post because they got more guys. Bam, Adebayo is playing out of his mind. They
The
got a
only
better front court.
The only thing I could see right now, Tyler, is I almost think the Bucks and the Celtics, like you said, this should be the Eastern Conference Finals. I think these
Right.
are the top 2 teams. Obviously not rank wise. Miami got the number 1 seed, but last year, where everyone thought it was going to be Philly versus Brooklyn, they faced off in the semis, kind of beat each other up. Then the Bucks slid in and got a banged up. Um, who they played the Sixers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that could be almost reversed this year, whereas the Bucks and the Celtics are going to kind of beat each other up. That'll
Wait. The Bucks face the Nets in the Eastern Conference.
Nets. Okay.
Yeah.
50% chance, and I still got it wrong. But anyways, I think they could be a reverse where the Nets or the Celtics and the Bucks are going at it, probably a 7-game series, beating each other up. Whereas like probably be Miami versus Philly. If Miami can come in, win pretty handily 3-1, then they might be sitting pretty, get some time to rest, and benefit from that just the way the bracket is.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Celtics versus Bucks is a 6 to 7 game series. Um, I mean, on paper right now, I'm going Heat over Sixers all day long.
Yeah.
I think this Heat team is very fun to watch. Even without Lowry, they're finding ways to win, and they're a very strong team. Hero coming off of the bench is a fire starter. PJ Tucker, who I absolutely fucking can't stand, is
Oh, I
playing really
know.
well this series. So this Heat team's a good team to watch. So yeah, I mean, as it goes, obviously, I think the Heat are going to advance to face the Sixers, and then the Bucks are going to advance to face the Celtics. So I think that's an interesting Eastern Conference right there. No bad series so far.
So Tyler, if say the Heat do end up making it to the NBA Finals, where do we rank Eric Spoelstra as like an all-time coach? Before everyone was saying, "Oh, you won with Shaq and D Wade, and then you won with D Wade, LeBron, and Bosh." But now, he's got Jimmy Butler, he's got Lowry, Adebayo, he's got a solid squad, but there's no like generational
I don't think
talent.
Spoelstra won with Shaq and D Wade.
Did
I
he?
think that was Pat Riley that was coaching.
All right, we'll have to check it. He was definitely on the coaching staff at
He
that
was
point.
he was on the coaching staff for sure, but I
Let me
don't think
see.
he was the head coach.
You sure
I'm
about that?
almost I'm almost 90% sure it was Pat Riley. '06.
Okay, yeah. So he was the head coach starting 2008, but he was an assistant. Um, but honestly, like
I'll give you half of it. I'll give
probably
you
the
half of
only
it.
probably the only coach that's never been fired while LeBron was on the team, right?
True.
I mean, in Cleveland, he got Mike Brown fired, and then obviously, L.A. They've gone through the carousel of coaches. I forget who was there his second stint in
Frank
Cleveland.
Vogel.
Yeah,
Oh. Teron Lue.
yeah. So I mean, I feel like he was gone before LeBron left. So credit to
No, I
Spoelstra
mean
to be
Eric
able to stick
Spoelstra.
around.
That guy is I don't know whose dick he sucked in Miami, but he's been through some rough patches with Miami himself, and yet he's still on the other side, proving that he just needed some good players.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler's has come into his own. They got Bam Adebayo down low, who's an absolute fucking gazelle. Kyle Lowry, proven NBA champion at point guard, and then they got some shooters around him. They got a really good team defensively and offensively. Honestly, Spoelstra, he would have to win the NBA championship for me to say this, but he would definitely be top 10 coach of all time, and he's probably number 10.
All right. I'd say maybe 15. I don't know if he's top 10. We'd have to sit down and look at the
If he
list.
wins this year, if he wins this year,
Yeah.
I'll give him top 10, and
No,
he's number 10.
there's probably an argument there. I mean, obviously Pat Riley as well. Maybe because I'm watching The Winning Time on HBO, but just to see how he went from a color coordinator or color analyst, whatever, on the sidelines, to assistant coach. They end up winning the championship in that year, and then he takes over for the team, wins a few more, goes to Miami, does his thing there. So he's got to be up there as well as far as
How
like
many how
coaches
many
and
championships does Spoelstra have?
just the two.
Just the two. Okay.
Wait, that doesn't make
I
sense,
mean,
right? I thought didn't LeBron win two in Miami?
yeah,
Oh yeah, right,
that
that's
does
right.
make
Because
yeah.
yeah, because he didn't win. He wasn't a head
He
coach
almost
as.
he almost won in the bubble. He almost won his third in the bubble that year that they lost against the Lakers.
I
So,
wouldn't even
I mean,
count
how
that
much that
one.
counts? I knew you were gonna say that. How much that counts is up to your perspective, but
No, definitely, yeah. He's got to be up there. I mean, career highlights and awards. I'm not sure who put this list, but it says, oh, at the 75th anniversary team, he is top 15 coaches in NBA history. So I don't know
so
what number he
if he
is,
wins,
but
it's not a crazy thing to say he's top 10.
no, that's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, credit to him. He didn't have the silver spoon. He was like, he obviously an assistant, but he was like a video analyst, right, for a few
And he's a
years in
young
Miami.
guy too. Yeah,
Yeah, still at
he's
51
been with
now,
the team
but
for a while. Yeah.
yeah. So let's hop over. I think we kind of got into the East in this I mean, do you want to dive in more in the individual series of the Heat and the 76ers?
No, once they get there, we can do that.
Yeah.
They
So,
have to they have to win first for us to do that.
right. Again, like I said, Raptors, they got the win tonight in Wells Fargo, so that series is at 3-2. Um, so another game going on right now, the Mavs with a 15-point lead over the Jazz. Tyler, Luca comes back, right? And they lose, but clearly you can see the impact that he has had. I mean, first and foremost, I want to talk about Jalen Brunson. I watched that second game in the series. Dude went off for 40 plus points, completely took over. I mean, he's going to get paid in the offseason. And then in addition, you got guys like Bullock who was out there hitting shots. I think they hit like 30 something three pointers in that game. So they're getting the job done. Um, on the other side of things, obviously you got Donovan Mitchell. He's really got to put the team on his back. I don't really see anyone else. Conley's kind of been non existent. Rudy Gobert is always going to be rim blocker and defensive staple of that team, if you will. But I don't know. I like the Mavs in this one with Luca back. I know when we did our pre-playoff predictions, we were thinking he wasn't going to be playing in the series at all.
We shit on them.
Yeah, we said this might be a
We said
sweep.
they were getting swept.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously
Fuck
Brunson
me.
and the other guys did their things, but with Luca back, I think the Mavs could definitely be a force in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Jalen Brunson, absolutely putting the team on his back with him, without Luca. Last game, Luca, obviously he first game back, getting back into the swing of things. But the Mavs, this is a team that is playing with a lot of heart. Um, a lot of people counted them out, myself included. And like you said, a lot of threes being hit, even by their big guys. And on the other side of the spectrum, really honestly, Donovan Mitchell has been non-existent in my eyes. Obviously, the last play of the last game where he threw the ball up to Rudy Gobert to slam it down for the win, I guess you could say, was really his only key play. But he hasn't been shooting the ball well. The Mavs have been playing defensively very strong against him. So yeah, you're right in the sense of he needs to step up and be the superstar that they know and think that he is, because Rudy Gobert is not going to win you this series against the Mavs, especially if Jalen Brunson is putting up 25 plus with Luka coming back.
No, definitely. And honestly, they could get they could be a benefactor of an upset in the other series. They get the winner of the Suns versus the Pelicans. Obviously, the Suns completely different team without Devin Booker.
Can I say one thing, one real
Yeah.
quick? Shout out my boy J Kidd at coach. I mean, God, the best player of all time in my eyes. Now he's coaching the Mavs. He's gonna win a fucking championship playing for the Mavs and coaching the Mavs, but he couldn't do it playing with the Nets and coaching the Nets. You love to see it.
Listen, Mavs, Mark Cuban, just a better franchise, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Must be paying him in Bitcoin or something.
Probably. But yeah, so obviously Booker out, what they say, like 3+ weeks. I forget what the actual diagnosis was, but gonna miss
Up for the series
at
nonetheless.
least the rest of this series, probably the rest of the next series. But I'm not even sure that they're gonna advance. Tyler, Pelicans taking Game 4 yesterday. I mean, let's just talk about Brandon Ingram. Really, he's been the star of the series. We saw him coming out of college. He kind of took a little bit to get going in LA. Moves on to New Orleans. He's pretty decent. I think he won Most Improved Player, right? Was that last year?
Not this year.
Last year, I think he might
John
have
Morant
won.
was just announced most improved this year.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think he won it last year. But I mean, he's had
You're probably right. Yeah.
multiple 30-point games. He dropped 30 yesterday. His 3-point shooting hasn't been great, but the fact that he's getting to the basket, he's getting assists, rebounds. He's really doing it all. Obviously, CJ McCollum, the addition to him has made that team completely different. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say now I think the Pelicans can take this series with Booker not playing.
Oh, might you add, Zion Williamson hasn't played a single fucking game, and they're tied 2-2 right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. Uh, Spin zone.
Yep.
LA Lakers absolutely punching the air right now. at one point on their team had Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, and D'Angelo Russell
Mm-hmm.
on their team, and probably somebody else who's in the playoffs
Clarkson,
right now.
Kuzma.
Clarkson, Kuzma, yeah. I mean, all
I
these
mean,
guys
yeah,
that
they
they had
just
on their D'Angelo Russell playing for the T Wolves right now, 7 seed in the playoffs.
hmm
Brandon Ingram playing for the AT Pelicans in the playoffs. I mean, obviously Randall could have taken the Knicks to the playoffs potentially if he played like he should have all year, but
yeah.
that's here neither here nor there. But Brandon Ingram, back to him. I mean, he's an absolute beast, 6'10". He's like a when I was watching the game last night, he's very similar, not as good obviously, but very similar to Kevin Durant in the way he handles the ball, how he shoots the ball, how he gets open, how he finishes. He's just a tall, lanky guy that can dribble and can score. Very tough matchup for anybody on the Suns. Jay Crowder was having a hard time guarding him. Torrey Craig was having a hard time guarding him. But this is a team just like the Mavs that is playing inspired basketball, a team that's playing with a lot of heart, that everybody counted them out,
hmm
myself included, and now they're tied 2-2 in this series with the potential of winning realistically without Devin Booker. I mean, the only way I
yeah.
can see the Suns making a statement is Cam Johnson has to really step up and be that player, that dude that scores, and they need DeAndre Ayton to really step up and also be another factor in the post to score, because I don't think anybody can guard him with how tall he is,
hmm
and if he really decides to dominate if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, you could say Aiton definitely did his thing. He led all scorers for the Suns, 23 points, 11 for 14 field goals, very efficient. However, there's no way the Suns are going to win this series with Chris Paul playing 35 minutes and only scoring 4 points. He took 8 shots. He was 2 for 8, 0 for 3 from 3 point. Did not shoot a single free throw. He did, finish with 11 assists. But I mean, this is the guy, often referred to as the point god. They're saying he's still the leader of this team. He's clearly a Hall of Famer. He's gonna have to step up. I know he's never really been known as a scorer. That's never been his label. He's more of an assist guy. Gets everyone else involved. But Booker's averaging what? Let's round up to 30 points a game. Someone else is going to have to step up and probably collectively and fill the void that they're missing from that. I think Aiton did his thing, like you said. Cam Johnson's going to have to step up. He only scored 13. They're probably going to need 30 from him. Jay Crowder with a career high 11 points. So you could say he's doing his thing. But honestly, with Ingram, McCollum, Hayes is playing good minutes. Valanciunas dropped 26. I
Shout out my
mean,
cousin.
yeah, Jackson, you guys are related.
Yeah,
I see the
but
resemblance.
through marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
he
got
got the height.
exactly. Yeah, you got the brains though, as you can tell by the size of
Yes.
your cranium that sits on your shoulders. I think. I mean, obviously, it's gonna go back to Phoenix. If the Pelicans gonna have to steal one there, but I'm thinking they're trending in the right direction right now. They're playing well, and a lot of it is about momentum. They're coming in off a 15-point win. I think the momentum is on their side. You got C.J. McCollum, veteran there, who he's been in the playoffs plenty of times. He's a locker room guy. I thought that was a great addition to them. They've made it. They're really true underdog story. They made it from the playing games, come in as the 8 seed. So I don't know. It's fun to watch. It's been a fun series to watch, definitely.
Yeah, Portland Trailblazers punching the air as well with the Lakers
hmm
getting rid of McCollum, and now he's in the playoffs, winning games.
Exactly. And Tyler, on the other side of things, this I don't quote me on it, but I think this might be the first time we could potentially see the 1 and 2 seeds going down, as Memphis is also tied 2-2 in their series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. As we're talking about, D'Angelo
Hardcore
Russell,
like Minnesota.
D'Angelo Russell doing his thing, Cat. Um, they squeaked out one on Saturday, 1 point win over the Grizzlies. But this is a fun series as well. Jaw, we got Cat, Bane, who Tyler Bane does not look like he belongs on a basketball court. He looks like he should be playing outside linebacker for the Detroit Lions or something. This dude is jacked, but somehow he's just one of the best shooters in the league right now. Who do you like in this series with them all tied up at 2-2?
This is tough because I like both teams, and I think both teams are good in their own aspect. But going to one Minnesota Timberwolves game, I'm gonna have to root on the side of the Minnesota Timberwolves. My heart is cold like Minnesota, as Moneybag Yo says, and D'Lo, my boy, he was a one of my favorite players on the Nets, and I always root for him no matter on what team he's on. And Cat, last game he was pissed off. He was playing pissed off from the get, and it really showed. They got the dub. It was a big win, and they needed it. I think if they can continue to get the ball to Cat, have him scoring, early and often, maybe get some of the guys in foul trouble like Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain, find ways to stop Bain. They've really limited Ja Morant to most parts, scoring wise. So if they can find a way to continue that while also penetrating the outside defense on Bain, I think this is Minnesota's. They're a great team. Now they said this is the number one and number two scoring teams in the NBA. So I did
Mm,
not know that. So if they can find a way to really limit those guys, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are one of those sneaky teams that could really make a case for
mhm.
themselves, especially with being how young they are.
Yeah, and let us not forget, obviously, Anthony Edwards, who's been a stud this series. I think
Oh,
game.
Jesus, forgot all about.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait, who else they have? Oh, wait, the best player on the team potentially, Anthony Edwards. He dropped like 37 points game one. He had 24 last game. You talk about sophomore slumps. Is no, that's not existent here in Minnesota. He's really come into his own. Took that leap in his second year, and he's very fun to watch, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, most of the
To
time
see
when he's
Jaren
going
Jackson get
up
himself
and
going, he's
finishing,
got
most
it.
guys are still coming down.
Hmm.
And he's still in the air. So this guy has an unreal leaping ability. He's a great defensive player too. So he's a great defensive player to take guys out of the game. But no, I mean, not only are their uniforms sick, but this team is really fun to watch, and they're playing again really inspired basketball. You're really seeing the teams that are playing with a lot of heart really show out, and you're probably going to see them in the next round, which would be very interesting. So you got potentially the Grizzlies losing, the Suns losing, and also potentially the Jazz losing. Aren't the
Hmm.
Jazz the 3 seed?
No, five.
Oh, 5 seed.
The three
Okay, never
seed,
mind.
however, is the Golden State Warriors, which Tyler
Oh, they ain't losing.
may potentially be the best team in NBA right now. I mean, they're cooking. Steph is looking good. Clay's healthy. Jordan Poole got robbed, most improved player. I mean, I don't know how you give a guy John Morant, who is in the discussion for MVP, most improved player. I mean, I don't know.
I think they do it based on the metrics of year over year in points,
Mhm.
assists, rebounds, steals. Like there has to be some reason as to why. But
Yeah,
no, like you said, dude, Jordan Poole, that dude is a
filthy. Yeah,
bad man.
yeah.
Bad
No,
man.
I mean, you talk about situational. In NFL, NBA, like, oh, this guy's a bust, but maybe if he was in a different situation, he could have been better. Whereas in the reverse aspect to it, Jordan Poole got to learn from one of the best shooters and scorers in NBA history, Steph Curry. So it's like maybe he's not as good of a player as he is right now if he doesn't, get taken under the wing of Steph. But hindsight is 2020. He is on the Nuggets. He's playing good basketball, and
On the Warriors.
or the Warriors, yeah. I'm looking at the graphic right now. So yeah, the Nuggets avoid the sweep.
For the Warriors during
Jokic had
that
to
break.
do
And
everything he
Curry.
could. He puts up 37 points. He had 8 rebounds, 6 assists. So kind of flirting with that triple double. Didn't quite get there. Tyler, I just don't think the Nuggets are going to be a complete team without Jamal Murray. You can definitely see how they're lacking his scoring, and when you got to look to guys like Morris had a decent game, Gordon actually had a decent game, 21 points. But when you got like Will Barton out there and you got Cousins coming off the bench. That's just not going to get it done for you.
No, and that hits the nail exactly on the head. This would be a different series with Jamal Murray. Obviously, this would be a different Nuggets team. They probably wouldn't be the 6th seed if they had Jamal Murray. They would probably be in that 5-4 kind of range, maybe even the 3. But I think without Jamal Murray, this Nuggets team hasn't been the same team that we saw in the bubble. Potentially going to the NBA Finals that year. They're just not the same. I think once Jamal Murray comes back, we'll see. I think this is another team. Keep the players that you have. Just let it ride one more season. Get Jamal Murray back. See if he comes back. If it doesn't change, you lose in the first round, then start getting rid of players. But the fact of the matter is, you have your maybe even one of your best players. I'm not gonna say best because Jokic isn't a bona fide MVP. But your second best player, one of your best scorers, out for the whole entire season, and you're the 6th seed. I mean, there's a lot of positives right there. But
And let's also
going
not
back
forget
to
about Michael Porter Jr. I
true,
mean, two of their
and
top three players are non-existent.
I forgot all about him. But I mean, yeah, this Nuggets team is not the Nuggets team that is actually portrayed to be. So I think this team has a lot of potential in the coming future. Just one more year. I think one more year, if healthy, this is a team that's going to be very tough to beat. But going back to Jordan Poole, Warriors, I find it absolutely fascinating. Steph Curry coming off the bench with Jordan Poole starting. They've done it, I think, every single game so far, and it's really making a difference in getting Jordan Poole out there, getting him active, and then having Steph Curry come off the bench. That is not a good feeling for the opposing team, I bet.
Yeah, well, obviously Murray had what was like a Achilles or ACL, pretty serious injury.
Yeah,
Um, but Michael Porter Jr., I mean, that back issue was something that he struggled with coming out of college in Missouri. They just paid him all
yeah.
that money. I mean, clearly it's still lingering, Tyler. Are you worried? Are you concerned about his, longevity and his health overall?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at Tiger. I know it's a different sport, but you get one back injury, and that could really ruin your career. I mean, it's not so different because there's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of going up for rebounds, a lot of dunking, a lot of this, a lot of that. So the back, that being a lingering issue. I mean, I don't see that stopping for the future, and
Hmm.
especially being as young as he is. I feel like he may see more years behind him than he does in front of him. So
Yeah, so he's only 23 years old. He just had his third back surgery in November. I mean, anytime you're doing that kind of surgery, it's tricky with the back at that young of an age. He's a fun player to watch. He's obviously, when healthy, one of the better scorers in the league. But something like that, you could just never be too careful with.
yeah, they said I'm pretty sure coming out of the draft, they said his most comparable player comparison was Kevin Durant,
Hmm.
and that's a hell of a comparison. Especially being as tall as he is, he can handle the ball well, he can shoot well, and he's a fantastic dunker. So yeah, it's kind of sad, but I mean the Nuggets knew what they were getting into when they drafted him. That's why he fell to them. So
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. So I think that pretty much wraps up the NBA talk, Tyler. Now getting back to a real sport, the NFL draft is on this Thursday. It's crazy that we're already here. We're talking about spring training has already started. The practices, Russell Wilson in a Broncos jersey, Devontae Adams in
say it.
yeah, right.
Raiders.
I don't need
As
to.
Raider looks up.
Yeah. I didn't see that one on Instagram, thankfully. But with that being said,
I'll
it's gonna
send it to
be
you.
no, please don't. It's gonna be an interesting draft this year. Not a lot of quarterbacks. Definitely more defensive oriented, I'd say. How do you want to do this? You want to go down like a CBS mock draft and listen to me absolutely butcher half the names?
Sure.
Go back to our Peony Sewell days and just uh, see how bad I can embarrass myself. So, round one, Jacksonville Jaguars got the number one overall pick. They got him taking Ikem Ekwonu. He is a offensive lineman from NC State, 6'4", 310. That's a big boy
Wait,
right there.
whose mock draft is this?
CBS.
Okay, because I was looking at Pro Football Talk,
Mm-hmm.
and they're basically saying everybody and their mom is saying that the Jaguars are taking Taven Bryan from Georgia, the defensive end.
I don't even see him on here. I
I
don't
think
know.
that's who it is.
I don't even see a Georgia player. Let me scroll down. Oh, Trayvon Walker.
That's it, Trayvon Walker. I'm sorry.
He's a defensive lineman. They have him going pick 7 to the Giants on this one.
Well,
So I don't know. CBS, blame CBS for this one. Obviously, this isn't my own. Next up, Detroit, Aiden Hutchinson. Tyler, he's an edge player from Michigan. I mean, obviously Detroit has a lot of holes to fill on their roster. I mean, do you like this pick? A defensive guy? I mean, they're one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Do you think that they should maybe like gamble a little bit, take a lineman or a skill position player?
well, I mean, they took Penny Sewell.
Mm.
I think it was last year or something like that. So, um, I just I think they need to just pick the best player that's available to them, regardless of what position it is, because it doesn't matter what position they select. I can almost guarantee they need to fill it. So,
Yeah.
unless it's like DeAndre Swift or Penny Sewell or uh, Jeff Okuda, I guess they really don't need to fill those positions. But I
Hmm.
think this is a good fit for them. Aiden Hutchinson, a guy that's from Michigan, hometown hero. I think this will be good for the Lions. A little
Yeah.
pride.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, obviously, it's always interesting anytime someone gets to play for their favorite team. He goes from Michigan, plays Michigan college, obviously. Then if he ends
I
up
will
going to
say,
Detroit,
Austin, I don't like Aiden Hutchinson. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. I might be wrong, but I would love to go on record and saying that he's going to be a bust. After watching him in the national championship, he was non-existent in that game. So,
well, I mean, he was also pretty much going up against NFL players with Alabama.
well, then he doesn't translate well to the NFL.
I guess. Speaking of Alabama, going up against their offensive lineman, they got Evan Neal going third pick to the Texans. Not much to talk about there. Texans clearly in a rebuilding phase. Pick 4, Tyler. This is where it gets interesting. Kayvon Thibodeau, edge player from Oregon, goes to the Jets. Jets have made some interesting moves. Now, they emerge as Las Vegas's favorites, to land Debo Samuel. Do you think if they can maybe land Debo, get a couple guys in there, do you have any faith that the Jets will do anything this season?
No,
No.
absolutely zero.
Okay.
No, and there's no shot that they get Debo Samuel either. I will go on record in saying that.
Where do you think
I
he
think
goes?
Kayvon Thibodeau, Debo. I think he stays as a 49er. I
Hmm.
think it's all a facade. I think Debo Samuel is not Debo Samuel in anybody's system besides Kyle Shanahan's. I think
But that's his whole
nobody
thing.
else
He
would be
does
able to.
he doesn't want to get paid as a wide receiver, but then go out and split carries as a running back because we all know how short the shelf life of a NFL running back is. I think the average career is like 3 years. So why is he gonna go put his body and his career on the line if he's not getting paid like it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not the 49ers. I'm not your guy, pal. I'm not that guy to answer that question. I John Lynch came out today saying that he doesn't even want to consider thinking about Debo Samuel on another team in another uniform. So, with that being said, coming from the GM, I think he's probably going to try and do whatever he can to keep him. And oh, by the way, they still do have Jimmy G's contract on their payroll. So, until he's off, I think that's when they'll really
Hmm.
listen. If I'm John Lynch, I'm not getting rid of Debo Samuel whatsoever. That's the best player on the field at all times, maybe besides Nick Bosa on the other side. But Debo Samuel is a force to be reckoned with. If you don't
Hmm.
sign him, That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, he probably, I think he probably ends up staying in San Francisco. I would love for him to go to Green Bay. However, if
Yeah,
his
I
if
know
his
you would.
if his argument really is not wanting to play running back as well, I don't think he would want to go to Green Bay because Green Bay is really the originators of putting a wide receiver in the backfield. We saw what happened with Ty
Shout out Ty
Montgomery,
Montgomery.
and they've put Randall Cobb in there. I mean, they've even run Devontae out of the backfield. Not that he was rushing the ball per se, but they like to run a lot of different looks in that West Coast spread offense. So I don't expect him to land in Green Bay at all.
And
Um,
I don't expect anybody good to land in the New York Jets. So I actually like Thibodeau. I think he's going to be a good defensive end. I actually don't think he's going to go to the Jets. I think the Jets are going to find somebody else that's probably doesn't make any sense
mhm.
to play for the Jets. They're probably going to reach at this pick if I had to guess.
Probably. I mean, Jets are just gonna Jets. That's what happens. As much things change, they still stay the same, and I think the Jets are probably gonna make a bad pick at number 4 overall. Pick 5, they're saying Ahmad Gardner from Cincinnati is a cornerback going to New York Giants. Pick 6, Charles Cross, a lineman from Mississippi State. Carolina's an interesting one. That division with the Falcons kind of rebuilding. The Saints. What's going to happen after Sean Payton? Um, see what happens there. And then you got the Falcons. What was the other team? I'm drawing a blank. The Jaguars. So I mean that division is wide open. I'm not sure what they're going to have at quarterback this year. Um,
Falcons are in the NFC South. Jaguars, Colts,
or
Titans,
wait,
and
no, not the Jags. Yeah, it's the Panthers, Falcons,
Bucks,
Saints, and Bucks. Yeah,
Saints, Bucks.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Brady's coming back. They'll probably own that division. But maybe if they can figure something out, they do have McCaffrey at this very moment, and they have a decent defense. Tyler, I want to say they were like top 3 rated defense for the whole year.
No, I mean, and the Panthers, that was their only shining point. Granted, they don't have Stephon Gilmore anymore. He's now a Colt. But they do have some key pieces defensively. Um,
I
and they
mean,
just
we're
need a
we're in
quarterback.
agreement though. Like Darnold's not the guy, right?
No, 100% no.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I can't find anybody, especially in this draft, I would take a 1 year on Baker. I would just try him out. I know you
Mm-hmm.
hate him, Austin, but what's worse? Would you rather have Sam Darnold or would you rather have Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, no, at least at this point, he's probably the best option out there. I haven't read into it at all, but is Cam Newton talking about coming back potentially?
Yeah, but you can't take that seriously. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
he's n-
you could do like a Drew Brees, Taysom Hill type operation that worked out pretty well for the Saints.
as I already said, Jimmy G is still out there.
Mm.
Wouldn't be a terrible landing spot for him. He does have DJ Moore. He does have Robbie Anderson, who Robbie Anderson did say he doesn't want Baker.
All right.
They get Jimmy G. They add an offensive lineman, which I think that's kind of the route that they're going to go at this pick. This is a dangerous team out of the NFC South. I mean, Falcons are rebuilding, like you said. The Saints, they don't know what the fuck they're doing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks obviously going to win the division. The Panthers, they get Jimmy G. I could see them sneaking into the wild card.
Oh, that's a bold statement right there, but I mean, I kind of agree with you. The
I
NFC
mean, you think about it, Austin.
the NFC is
You
kind
got
of
Christian
tough
McCaffrey.
this year.
You got Christian McCaffrey. You got DJ Moore. You got Robbie Anderson. You add an offensive lineman, an offensive weapon. You have Jimmy G. Their defense is already pretty good. I mean, they're a defensively schemed team.
Mm-hmm.
They got Burns. They got Yetur Matos out of former Penn State great. Had to throw that one in there. This is a tough team. I mean, I think they have a chance of going 9-8, 10-7.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know the
it's
NFC's tough. I
possible.
I get it.
We'd have to look at their schedule, but I think it's possible for sure. I mean, you got to think they'd probably get 2 wins against the Falcons. They could probably split against the Saints, so that's a good start right there. 2 losses against the Bucks, though. I mean,
They'll
it,
probably face the Packers. They'll probably take that one.
yeah, right. Keep dreaming, Bubs. Next pick, pick 7, your guy Trayvon Walker. They got him projected to the Giants, which, as you say, or everyone else is saying that he should go first overall. So maybe this won't happen. Clearly, the Giants need some help on defense. Again, like the Lions, they need help all over the field. Next pick, they got Garrett Wilson going number 8 overall to the Falcons. Great pick for the Falcons. You know, they need a guy to pair up against, or with, I should say, Kyle Pitts. You know, they lost Ridley. Julio isn't there anymore. I think they lost their other guy too. Uh, what was the other receiver?
Zacharias,
Yeah, yeah, I can't pronounce his last name. I forget what it was.
Zacchaeus. Where
Zacchaeus.
did where did where did Calvin Ridley go? I feel like this all happened. So like,
Well, he's
did
suspended
they
for the
just
whole
release him?
year.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, which kudos to the Falcons. I think they were in talks with the Eagles or something about trading him, but they knew it was imminent that Ridley was going to get some kind of suspension, which, you know, obviously came to be a season long suspension. Whether that was justified or not, that's remained to be seen, but it is what it is. However, about Garrett Wilson, Tyler, this is a guy that I would love for the Packers to get. Obviously, you know, he's going to go in a top 10 no matter where it is to what team. Packers, they got a lot of picks this year. I think if they could do a first round swap and maybe add in a second round pick, I would love to see them move up to take this guy. He's a great route runner, great hands. Honestly, the closest guy I would say to Devonte Adams to kind of fill his shoes. Obviously, that's not going to happen in year one, but this is clearly 100% the best wide receiver in this draft, and I would love for the Packers to try to make a move for him.
How many picks does the Packers have in the first round? Two?
Yeah,
And
they
how
got.
pissed would you be if the Packers don't select a single wide receiver in the first round?
Honestly, at this point, Tyler, I'm kind of scarred, so I don't think I would have any emotions towards it at all. You know, they trade up to get a quarterback a few years ago, when there was a bunch of better options. I don't think Jefferson was taken after the Jordan Love pick, but he was a few picks ahead of him. So if you're going to trade up for someone, that should have been the person. And, just years past, they've always been a draft the best player available as opposed to need. So I wouldn't even be surprised at this point, Tyler, to answer your question.
Yeah, I mean, the one person that I would love to see on the Packers, former Penn State great Johan Dotson, I feel like that would also be a great selection for you. Actually, a more realistic one if you guys jump up a few spots. I think you guys are what are you guys? You guys are 17th.
22. We got 22 and then 28.
You guys could easily jump up into the top 15 for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Maybe even the top 12. But Olave, Wilson, Dotson, those three guys. Oof,
I
Drake
don't.
London even maybe
I
sprinkle him
don't
in
I
there.
don't love Olave. I would take Drake London. He's just a big body guy. I can see Aaron Rodgers having a lot of fun with him in the red zone, but I don't know. Olave, just don't know if he fits that scheme. He's just more of a speedster guy. I don't think we're looking to replace MVS right now. We're looking to replace Devonte Adams, and I don't think he's the guy.
Yeah. No, I like Wilson. I just think I don't know. I'm not a huge Ohio State guy.
Mhm.
Although Michael Thomas, I think, is one of the best wide receivers in the league, former Ohio State player. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of great wide receivers in this draft, and the Packers definitely this is their year, if any, to refill Devontae Adams' void. But
Mhm.
I do think if there's
They
any
should.
team that would not select the player that they should, it would be the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's why I said I wouldn't even be surprised. Next pick, pick 9, Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback. They got him projected to the Seahawks. The next wide receiver off the board, Jameson Williams. They have him going to the Jets. Alabama guy, which you can never go wrong with an Alabama receiver. Pick 11 to the Commanders now, as they have their
The
new
Cums.
the commies, their new logo. They got Drake London going there, which is another guy I do like, Tyler. Trent McDuffie, corner out of Washington. They got him projected to the Vikings. The Vikings, low key, are a good drafting football team. Tyler, they got Jefferson. Um, what's the cornerback they got a few years ago? It was pretty good. Uh,
Rhodes.
yeah, Rhodes, but I thought there was another one. Anyways, I think this is a good pick for them. Obviously, they're gonna need to figure out their quarterback situation with Kirk Cousins. I'm not sure what the deal is there. Um, Next pick we got Kyle Hamilton. He's a safety from Notre Dame. Jermaine Johnson, the second edge
I
rush
actually
from
think
Florida
Kyle
State.
Hamilton's going to go a lot higher than 18th. I could see him going top 10.
13th.
7.
You think he's that good? 6'4",
I think he's
220
going to the
safety.
Giants.
That's a big guy over, dropping over the middle playing safety. I mean, receivers should be watching out for him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if the Raiders had any inclination of moving up, if we even had a first round draft pick in the next few years, that's who I would want.
Hmm.
Because that dude, I think, is going to be nasty in the league.
Yeah, I honestly don't know too much about him, but anytime a safety goes that high in the draft, there's definitely got to be some kind of talent going on with
A
him.
lot of comparisons to Jamal Adams. That's what I've heard.
Okay, that's not too shabby. Next, we got Jermaine Johnson going to the Ravens. Jordan Davis, defensive lineman from Georgia. Pick 16, Tyler. New Orleans Saints, they're projecting the first quarterback off the board, Malik Willis from Liberty. Obviously, he's playing at a smaller school. I didn't really see much of
Liberty,
him.
liberty, liberty.
Yeah, that's a good commercial. Let's see the write up. Almost certainly won't happen, but this is where we target Willis. Ton of upside, extremely raw. I mean, I can't remember the last time a quarterback was selected this late in the draft, Tyler.
I don't love it. I also don't hate it. Malik Willis, kind of like a Taysom Hill mixed with the Jameis Winston, in my opinion, has an unreal cannon of an arm and is very mobile. He's like the modern day quarterback. A lot of people are comparing him to Lamar Jackson. Uh, I just think personally, Matt Corral fits the. Well, I guess Sean Payton's no longer the coach, so
Hmm.
I guess what do I know about the Saints? But I think Matt Corral would be a better fit for the Saints. But that's neither here nor there. I think if you're trying to play to your strengths, you got Alvin Kamara out of the backfield and Michael Thomas, slant god, absolute possession wide receiver. I don't think a running quarterback is the answer for this offense or to fit your key players. So that's why I would go more Matt Corral rather than Malik Willis. But I know a lot of people are concerned with Matt Corral's injury that he sustained this past season.
Hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It is just funny to see not a lot of quarterbacks being taken. Obviously, in years past, that was the premier position going first overall. Multiple in the top 10 here. CBS has him projected at the 16th pick overall. 17th pick, Kenyon Green, offensive lineman from A&M. Next, Devin Lloyd, linebacker. And you just stop me if you hear someone you want to talk about. I'm just kind of skimming through. Trevor Penning, lineman from Iowa. Tyler Linderbaum, another lineman from Iowa. Devontae Wyatt, defensive lineman from Georgia. And here we go, pick 22, Green Bay Packers. CBS has them projected taking Traylon Burks from Arkansas. Tyler, I haven't heard much about him, and that definitely concerns me. I would almost rather, if they don't end up trading up, I would almost rather have them take, maybe a defensive guy or a lineman. Obviously, they're losing Bill Turner, and they need to fill that gap over at right tackle. But Traylon Burks, let's see, high point catch machine, runs a 4.55 40. That's not great for a wide receiver. He did play in the SEC, which is the toughest conference in college football. He reminds some of us of Anquan Bolden mixed with Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't know that that's a great comparison for someone that you're picking in the first round.
I don't think it's terrible though. I think they're more comparing him to the frame of Juju with the route running and catching of Bolden. I've heard good things about Burks. I've actually seen that him go higher uh, in terms of like in the top 10 in some mock drafts. So I think this is if this is a value pick right there. If the Packers can get him, I think this would be a great landing spot for him. Obviously, playing with Aaron Rodgers, I think he would be an immediate impact player on your offense. I mean, he would have to be because you guys
Yeah.
have no wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, 6'2", 225, similar build and frame to Devontae. I'll have to do some research, Tyler, look up his college highlight tape
YouTube videos.
just to see if he makes it move at all and see what happens. But no, I think the Packers, and I do have faith that they will move up to get one of the more top wide receivers. They got David Ojabo, edge player from Michigan, Zion Johnson, lineman for Boston College, Daxton Hill, Michigan, safety. They got at pick 28, Packers taking Nakobe Dean, linebacker from Georgia. I like that there.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, they
That's a really good pick.
obviously they had Devondre. You know, he had a good season. They brought him back, which is good to see. But you know they can
If
never have too
Dean
many
falls to
guys.
that 28th pick, that'd be disgusting. Like he is really fun to watch.
I bet he'd be more fun to watch in green and gold.
Probably not.
Yeah. They got Olave going to the Chiefs at 29. Tyler, obviously, Raiders no picks in the first two rounds, but you know there's still an option for them to maybe trade a future pick or package deal some of their later round picks. Do you have any anticipation of them doing that, or is there anyone
No.
that you would at least like to see them get in the later rounds?
Offensive line, I don't care who it is, biggest guy, fastest guy, best available in terms of offensive linemen. We've literally filled every void elsewhere. I feel like free agency, we were probably one of the best teams in terms of signings and re-signings and restructurings. But if we can get an offensive line to protect our assets, especially the quarterback that we just re-signed for 4 more years, and also Josh Jacobs, Josh Jacobs rookie card right here.
Got
You
the
ever heard of
card.
it? But also, have time to throw to Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, the greatest tight end in NFL right now, and Devontae Adams, greatest wide receiver in the NFL right now. I think that's going to really help. So, offensive line, that's really if they use all their picks on offensive line, I'd be happy.
Well,
Nobody in specific because I don't know who's available at 86.
right. I don't necessarily agree with everything you said right there, but one thing I'm pretty sure we can come to agreement on is we can't wait for football to be back. It's been a complete roller
Oh,
coaster of an
100%.
off season. You know, one of the crazier free agents and trade deals going on around the league. Tyler, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle in the AFC West this season, but we'll see what
We're
happens. The
ready.
Raiders, the Raiders definitely didn't just lie down and take it. They made some moves, so we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, me and Austin will 100% hopefully for surely be at the Bucks versus Packers game
Hmm.
in Tampa Bay. So whether it's a good scene for Austin or not, that remains to be seen.
We're gonna try to make it happen. I mean, if we're starting Sammy Watkins at wide receiver one, I'm not sure if I'm gonna take the Southwest flight down to Tampa. We'll have to talk about it, but nah, there's still time in the off season left. There's still some guys out there, Julio, Will Fuller, I
Jarvis,
Jarvis, his name kind of got swept under the rug. I'm not sure that he's gonna actually go anywhere. OBJ is still a name. He's not gonna be ready week one, but they're thinking he can come back at some point in the season. So we'll see what happens. That's all I got.
yeah, that's all I got. I'm super excited. Well, it's on to football for me anyways because the Nets got swept. So
Yeah.
go Raiders.
No lightning for you this year. Not unless they
Oh
win.
shit, forgot Lightning. Hockey,
Yeah.
that's coming up. Playoffs right around the corner. May 1st, I think, is when last game of the regular season. So, Austin, first round, Lightning versus Rangers potentially.
Oh boy, we might have to have some kind of gentleman's bet or agreement for that one.
All right, deal.
Let's do it. All right, that's it for the No Look podcast. I will be right back shortly with Monday Night Gaming, so don't go anywhere. Tyler, the man goddamn, as always, thank you. And yeah,
Love you.
we'll be right back.